Good evening, Nick Inman from VolumeProfileTrader.com on Tuesday, June 12th. And I have to say one thing about the S&P, the market in general. I think there's, just based off of what we've seen the last couple of days, a lot of up and down. But I think we're close to a potential breakout. And I want to say it could be to the upside. And the way that charts are setting up, a lot at some major levels that should bounce, and we're going to go through those tonight. So starting with the S&P, we had an update today, kind of took away yesterday's down day, basically back at where we closed on Friday. The Dow kind of looks like the S&P, and the NASDAQ, similar picture here. So you're getting the idea that, the market is obviously, and I think we've said this, the market is obviously balancing, and you need to be aware of that, and you need to understand that, it's tough to have trades that are being held overnight. The only way we can determine if, moves can be bought is if we see some type of follow-through day. And, given where the market is at, after a big pullback like this, you're probably going to see a little more of a bounce than what we've seen so far, especially if the news out of Europe remains light or positive in any way. That should do nothing but fuel the fire. Looking at gold, another nice day for gold, stabilized. So after this big 2-day, run to the downside, we've seen a pretty nice reversal. We're back at some key areas on gold. Gold is back up at its point of control for the current month. Something to be aware of. Another something to be aware of is the way we've bounced off of basically the high volume area of the breakout level that we saw back on Friday. We held that level, and now we're getting a bounce. These are the type of moves you can be a part of. And just looking at this, I know this is, looks like a valid buy. What's wrong with it? I know members who have taken the trading course understand that. So let's look at the sectors, see what's going on. XLF, what do we have here? We have a successful touch of this high volume area, an immediate bounce, and we're back inside of this high volume area. And, we're bouncing there until we find some sense of direction. But you have to say, any move down to 1330, probably is a killer buy, and any move up to 1450.15 is probably a pretty good sell. And in the middle, it's tough. But if you look at something like Bank of America, point of control for the year, $7.12 or so, and it looks like we could have a move up towards to basically $1 higher. 50-day moving average would be the best visual of that. Actually, I have the 55. But you can see the volume here. If we go straight there, for example, this $8 level will become the point of control. There's probably 1 or 2 days worth of volume to switch it over. So that's something to be aware of. So range bound, but you could see the possibilities for some type of move higher. I'm just bringing up other banks. JP Morgan, this is point of control for the year. Huge high volume area that has been formed. We'll go over right here. And as long as we're in there, you probably want to stay away. But if we break out, you probably have range extension up towards to about 37. All right, just a few more banks. Like Goldman, value area low for the year. Not a bad, if you're short, not a bad place to cover. If you're long, not a bad place to, be a buyer. Or I'm sorry, if you want to be long, not a bad place to be a buyer. Energy, value area low for the year. Similarly, could easily see a buying opportunity here. Industrials can't even get down to the value area low. A lot of bear volume down here, still showing that this point of control up here was a major top. Now, that doesn't mean we can't go back to those highs, but as far as volume, there's not a lot. to really be too enthused about from levels to trade off of. Caterpillar value area low for the year, probably pretty interesting for, a name to keep on your radar. Deere, this looks like a better setup, just the way it's looking. We have complete rejection of, let's see, basically I have the point of control for the month. Point of control for the month's holding. As long as that holds, this looks pretty decent for a move up to about 76.5, and then you have to look, what's going on, potential, lower high sell. The 50, the moving averages will be right at that level in a couple of days, so that's something to be aware of. Let's see, XME. This is definitely something, okay. I see a potential for a double bottom here, short term. But wouldn't you much rather be a seller of some higher price, considering it's just made new lows, and realize you can probably get a pretty decent opportunity, just slightly higher prices. So instead of trying to catch a falling knife, which this is a valid buy here. You have a double bottom, positive close right where we saw a bounce last time. You would just have to see a follow through day to get any type of comfort. But, given that, you could take this for a short-term trade to the upside. Okay, utilities, don't really care about these, but they're breaking out. Technology, NASDAQ 100 type stuff. Look at Apple. As long as it's hanging in there, then you're okay. Let me get rid of these lines. I know members were looking at Halliburton, and, based off of this potential double bottom, we'll see. It's, you got a qualified setup today, and now you just have to see follow through, and that's the important thing. I had a position on gold, GLD. I had a call spread initiated, I think it was Friday, but actually I want to say it was yesterday. It's one of those things where just the way the market is coming into the monthly point of control, I just yanked it. Decent profits, definitely not all of the potential it had in it. It was a spread, but I wanted to take the risk off, and I did so in doing that. I'm just looking at some names that remember getting long at the lows. Qualcomm, this looks like it's going to break out to the upside. Look at the volume. This is what you want to see. And this is a good sign for stocks to be looking to be in. And, there's no reason, when you have great buying opportunities like this, to scale, with the potential, you have to realize this. This could be a huge bottom for Qualcomm. I mean, it could be a bottom where we run up to 62, 63. You never know. It could be the bottom where we don't, the next higher low we get is up around, say current levels. And, then we go up and test 68, 87, which were the highs. And, you could have been holding at 55 where you got a valid buy. And it just shows you should always remain in trades. Don't necessarily get in, all out when the potential is there. And at an opportunity like this, you could see there is potential for a pretty good sized bounce or maybe a continuation of the uptrend. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'm saying if it is, that would make me pretty happy because I've been long Qualcomm from the bottom, and I know members know this because I sent out, or I talked about it on the video that night, and it just shows you this method that we use is very powerful, and if you understand the market, you can make a ton of money at it. Value area low for copper. Just want to show that. Euro. It's stabilized, but that's about as good as it gets. Realize it could be the leading indicator. And if Euro falls over again, expect the S&P to probably follow along, because that's what happens. Let's see, 60 oil. Last one. Continues to drop. As it drops, I continue to look at names like Starbucks or Target, stuff, or places where people spend more money when gas prices are down, and I think that's a good tell, for potential positions. Really, retail in general, you can see it's held in there, and you want to continue to be long some retail names. So, anyways, take care. Have a good night. Hope this helps, and talk to you tomorrow.